Yo, what up guys? What up? What up? In this video guys, I'm going to be talking about why I'm ditching my Linux operating system for a Mac. So I'm a big fan of Linux. I've been using it for my workstation. I like it a lot. But there's a few reasons why I'm actually switching and going to convert my workstation pretty much to a Mac OS. But before we get started guys, go ahead and give me a follow. Man, give me a like guys. I appreciate. So guys, I know I have mentioned it before in previous videos, and one of the things that I mentioned was related to my next laptop that I buy. I was gonna ditch my MacBook Pro and get something else. So I do have a MacBook Pro. This is what I use, so when I travel. And I like it, dude. I actually like it a lot. My issue with Apple in this case, anyways, is the hardware stuff that's not upgradable, right? Even though when you look at it on paper, it's not the best quality lap specs. And again, I'm talking about a 5-year-old MacBook Pro. Keep that in mind, using the Intel chipset. It's nothing special, but it just what makes Mac, in my opinion, Mac OS, anyways, to be specific, special is how optimized the operating system is with the hardware. That's where I think the magic is with Apple, anyways. Either way, because of the lack of capability to do upgrades like RAM, SSD, things of that nature, that's kind of where I was leaning towards. When I get myself another laptop, I'm gonna get something else than a Mac. Now for work, you can kind of see the monitors in the background. I use Linux. That's Pop OS to be exact, and I like it. I actually like it a lot. I like Linux, man. There's a lot of things that I like about it. Just very basic stuff with Linux. Everything just runs fast. Man. I don't have issues. I could leave my computer on for months guys, and it runs just as fast as day number one. I don't have, my experience with Windows that's not the case, put it that way. It's very unlikely to run a Windows PC for months and have it run smoothly. There are other stuff that I like about Linux as well. There's just a lot of things that come out of the box, right? Python is included out of the box. It's ready to go. The terminal, like I use the terminal often to do different things. It's just ready to go. Not the command line, but terminal, which is different what you use for Windows. So just little things of like that I'm familiar with, right? Because I use Linux for my servers that I have, so I'm familiar, like decent enough with the terminal. So I like to use it even for my workstation when I'm doing certain things. There's a lot of applications that I run, and it runs smooth. I use PyCharm, VS Studio, VS Code, Postman. All these applications, everything runs smoothly. My biggest issues, I will say, that I have is there are some applications that I use on a consistent basis, daily basis even, that do not exist on Linux. For example, I use Office 365 in our business, so of course, Excel, those applications you cannot install Linux, right? Another issue is there is not an Outlook application. Now there's other applications you can install to use that's Outlook, very similar to Outlook, but I'm so used to Outlook, and there is, it just doesn't compare. It's just not the same. And there is none on Linux at all, like an Outlook app that exists there. So you got to use the web, and the web is a little bit buggy. I've been having issues with the web. It's limited in features for one, and then certain things, like when I'm going through email threads, it's kind of funky. It just kind of goes back to the beginning. It's a lot of little issues of that sense, man. And for me, I use email a lot for reminders. Like I schedule an appointment, and I'm used to, like on Windows, or again even on my MacBook Pro, because there is an Outlook app on MacBook Pro, which in my opinion I actually like a lot. It's very feature rich, and again, you get no email, you get notifications that, hey, your meeting about to start. And then you'll get one to the last minute, hey, meeting started. And I need that. Like, I use that. That's how I manage my time, my scheduling. And that is lacking in Linux because there is no Outlook application to install for that. So little things of that sense. I do use a VM on my Linux machine because there are some Microsoft products that I need to run. There's also some applications that I run that are not necessarily Microsoft specific, but I have to run it because it doesn't exist in Linux. It does exist for Mac, by all means, but it doesn't exist for Linux. And that's one of the reasons why I'm making the switch back to Mac OS for work. Anyway, this is for work, and it's because of that. There's these key applications that I use that actually exist for Mac, and they work so smooth, guys, like smooth like butter. And right now, I'm more looking at it from a productivity standpoint. Like, even though I like Linux, but there are certain things that I use for work that just do not work as smooth on Linux. I use OneDrive to manage all my files, for example. Everything that we have, everything's stored on the cloud, OneDrive. And even then, there is no synchronization from my OneDrive to my Linux hard drive. You know, where in Mac OS there is. You could install the OneDrive extension and then have pretty much a folder that's in sync with your OneDrive account. And now you have all your files there because that's how we operate. That's how we work. I work, and I that makes my workflow so much more easy. So now I have to do a lot of these workarounds because of the limitations to some of the products that I use. Again, operating system awesome, but some of the products that I use, it's just not there. And one of and ultimately that's kind of the main reason. But again, even to take it even further, the main reason why I'm getting the Mac Studio, to be precise, is I already had schedule for this April where I want to build a new gaming PC. Well, the more I thought about it, my workstation computer, I could convert that to a gaming PC. I already have I bought an upgraded GPU, so I have a GPU that I could go ahead and put in there, and I'm good to go. My workstation right now, it's using the i11 700K processor, which is not bad, dude. It's not the latest by all means, but that's a very solid, good processor, right? 11th gen i7, awesome processor. It has 64 gigs of RAM, more than what I need. I have a 1 terabyte SSD. What else do I have? I have 1000 watt, I believe is platinum power supply. All I need is I have an AIO for my CPU. Dude, all I need is a GPU, which I have one already. I don't even need to buy a GPU. So instead of spending the money to build the new gaming PC, I would use the money to get myself a new workstation, right? That's going to be for work. For me, work is coding and doing video editing, which I want to try on the MacBook Pro. And then, of course, other stuff, creating documents, VM, right? Because I need to reuse. And that's the other thing, the VM. macOS has an awesome VM, dude. Parallel desktop. I don't know if y'all have ever used that, but for me, that is like one of the best VMs out there. It works so well with macOS, like so well, dude. And so that allows me to use those Windows specific applications on a Mac OS. And it is awesome, dude. And I think because of that, my workflow and everything that I need, it gives me that balance where, again, Mac is not the same as Linux by all means, but it gives me that Linux type feel, which I like. And then also allows me to have all the applications that I need, that I use for work on a consistent basis, and everything should just work smoothly, smooth as butter. So now let's switch to which one I'll be getting. So the one that I'm going to be getting is going to be the, again, Mac Studio with the M1 Max chipset, 10 core CPU, 24 core GPU. So it's going to be interesting because I'm going to do some testing with DaVinci Resolve on video editing to see how good this is. And then ultimately, I'm getting the default specs, the entry level specs, 32 gigs. I think that's more than enough. Even on my workstation today on Linux, I don't use. I think on average I use like 24 gigs. Every rare occasion, I'll probably get to the top of 30 gigs. So, but that's very rare. For the most case, 24 gigs average. So that's more than enough. Storage, again, that's all I need. All I keep from everything that I do is in the cloud. So for me, storage, anything that I really going to be saving, whether it be data files, it's either going to be in the cloud in my OneDrive, or I have a 20 terabyte NAS here in the office, and it will get saved there. So there's no need for me to be saving stuff really on my machine. And I do that for the purpose of backups, because if ever crashes, the memory gets wiped out, I don't have nothing important of value there. Everything should be, again, on my NAS or in the cloud, one of the two. Also, I was looking initially to the Mac Mini, but what got me more leaning towards this is, this is more production grade, like, workspace grade compared to the Mini. Even though the Mini is powerful, the M2 Pro, but this is still, I think, slightly better, and it will be better for video editing. And on top of that, it actually has up to 4 displays. Now you probably can't tell, but I have 2 displays here, and I got 2 more displays. I have 4 displays for my workstation, so I need and I want that. So this would allow for 4 displays, and on top of that, it comes with certain features that you would have to upgrade on the Mac Mini, which is the 10 gigabit Ethernet. This one comes with that by default, and this is awesome because my switch right now, I think, is set by default. I have a few ports that are 2.5 gigabit transfer, but I could always, again, upgrade and extend it, and then I would be able to handle those scenarios. But yeah, guys, this is what the one that I'm gonna end up purchasing, that I'm looking into. And yeah, man, again, I think it makes more sense, man. It makes more sense in my workflow for my business, what I'm trying to do. It gives me that balance of both. Again, not that I hate Windows, nothing wrong with Windows. I use Windows for my streaming computer, I use Windows for my gaming computer, but for work, I just not too big of a fan of Windows. I like the Linux type feel environment, and I think Mac kind of gives me that Linux type feel environment, but also, which is not, but it gives me a flavor, like at least a little bit of it, but it gives me all the features that I need to use on my day-to-day, work, which there's Outlook apps, Excel as well for Mac OS. The VM is like really one of the best VMs that I have used, which is Parallel Desktop. A lot of the apps that I use, Table Plus, which is it's a database application. Dude, that is like so smooth like butter. Mac OS on Windows is choppy, and I hate that because I really love that app. But on Mac OS, it is smooth. Other apps that I use, like Postman, PyCharm, VS Code, so forth, all of that could get installed on Mac with no issues. So again, everything that I need, that I'm going to be using it for work, the apps exist for Mac. The only exception is Power BI and SQL Server Management Studio, but again, that's where the VM comes in. When I set up my VM, it would, I would install those 2 applications in there, but everything else I'll be able to use, and I think I will have a better workflow. And because I was already planning on April to build a new gaming rig, well, now I don't have to. I'm going to use my workstation, convert it to a gaming rig. I don't even need to buy nothing, and then the funds that I want to use for that ultimately will pretty much go into the Mac Studio. So and it's actually not bad, dude. $19.99. It's not bad, dude. It really isn't, for I think the efficiency and power that you get. That's why I'm switching from Linux to Mac OS. Again, I like Linux a lot, man. I really do, and I still planning to use it in other ways. I just don't think that I could use it for my work because it doesn't accommodate every need that I have, and I need something to accommodate the majority of my needs. So for that reason, that's why I'm switching. Again, guys, I will keep y'all updated once I do get it, and then I'm going to do some testing and do some comparisons of, like, for example, video editing that I do on Windows and try to compare it to the Mac Studio and kind of give you at least my feedback on, you know, performance differences and things of that nature. Then once I implement, you know, get everything up and running, how the workflow feels. Does it feel the same? Does it feel better? You know, so forth. Kind of go from there. Again, guys, thanks for watching. And again, thanks for all the support, and see y'all next time. Peace.